So that's the victim. Say hello to a bandit helmet. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm not gonna even bother filming that. I'm gonna strip it down, remove the visor basically, because there's nothing else to strip. Mask it off, the bottom lip as well, and the inside, so no paint or solvent gets in there. And then I'm gonna start painting that fucking thing. Let's see what happens, shall we? Alright guys, so sometime later the helmet is ready for airbrushing. I scuffed it up with some Scotch pads, Scotch Brights, whatever you call them. Masked off the area I don't want to be painted, which is all the visor inside out, and all the rubber mounts, you know, around, rubber lip around the edges. No stencil this time, hardly whatsoever. I'm going to use probably some freehand stencils for later on, but for the actual artwork, no stencil, because it's such an awkward shape, you know, to cut anything off. So I just marked it by hand, and we're gonna take it from there. Guys, wish me luck. See if we can do a semi-decent job over here. Hi there guys, welcome to the voiceover land. Thought I'd do another video like this to explain, give you some insight in the background what I'm doing over there. So yet again, I'm working with my Iwata HPB, which is a really good airbrush. I'm really enjoying that. That's the original model, not the Plus. There are very few differences between them, but the performance is near enough the same. So I loaded it up with Createx or Auto or Wicked Colors white with some reducer. Basically there's pure white, and what I'm doing right now is laying down the roadmap for later on. I drew a sketch that shape of the teeth and the nose and the skull, you know, basically where the bones are going, with my Stabilo pencil, like a chalk grease-free pencil. So that basically gives me an idea of where I'm going and what I'm doing with it. And as you can see, I line up the teeth with the inlets, the cutout mesh of the helmet. So it kind of looks like an X-ray of a skull that have some implants, you know, in the teeth, or some kind of spikes going through them. And that's the idea behind it anyway. Hopefully that's going to work out later on pretty well. I'm focusing mostly on the teeth right now, as the teeth and the nose cavity over here, the nostrils, is the main structure of that helmet, of that artwork, what's going on over here. I'm gonna do something else in the background, and obviously top of the skull, the forehead, and the top of it's a few cracks. That's just the bone structure, but this is the most detailed area at the front of it, and the area that will attract the most attention. So I'm kind of jumping around over here. I don't want to focus too much on one area, but the teeth are the most important, and then the front of the helmet anyway. At this stage, I'm not worried too much about getting details in there and getting the structure, the textures of the teeth and the bone structure. I just want to lay in a basic roadmap, and I'm going to work it from there. I'm going to probably come back on a few different layers. I'm going to come back with black and white again, and black again, and then white again for a final highlights. So it's a pretty long process, but at this stage I'm just focusing on lay down, so I know where to come back and which way to push it back with black later on. And the same thing over here, try to kind of replicate what I did on the other side. Obviously slightly trying to keep it slightly asymmetrical. I don't want it to be a perfect mirror image. Nothing is in real life, really, is it? If you replicate it one way or the other exactly the same, it kind of looks doesn't look real. It looks kind of computer generated graphic, which you want to avoid. And yet again, laying down the base, laying down the background, so give me something to work on. Obviously the white is always the way I work, you know, white is always the main step. the first step, and then from that we can work on it. You can sculpture it the way you want to. Once I'm laying that white, I'm kind of thinking ahead and laying it a little bit heavier when I want it to be more profound, and a little bit less, you know, white when I want the area to be pushed back. I don't want to cover everything completely in white, because that's not the point. Kind of already you can see a texture coming up, you know, of the bone. Over here I'm working with the grain of the way the bones are going on. So I'm kind of already thinking ahead the structures I'm gonna use. Yeah, coming a bit closely, I can produce finer lines, as you can see over here. Spraying from further away gives you a nice kind of misty, you know, action, but coming up really close, that kind of effect you can achieve. I'm helping myself with a little bit of stencils as well to produce that kind of texture in the background. I'm not going to use it all the time, just every now and again. You know, it's very helpful tool to use, as you can see over here as well. It's some of them, the textures are produced with that stencil. That is basically the first layer completed. The roadmap is laid down with white, and at this stage I believe I'm switching to black later on, and we're going to be pushing back all the shadows. Yeah, as you can see, I'm going to be pushing back all the shadows, all the empty areas, and I'm going to create a bit more 3D effects as well. I've already started on teeth, the nose, the jawline. As you can see, pushed back, so it kind of already looks like you can put your hand underneath there, even though it's just paint, you know, is all the same level. So I'm fixing up the teeth line, you know, tidying it all up, and working at this stage. I'm working heavily on textures right now, just to get it out of the way. Kind of need to, what I'm thinking about it is with black I'm trying to push it back, so something that is further away from me, I'm attacking it with black, and that kind of visually makes the effect of the item being further away from you, like kind of behind the white. The more white you put on, it's gonna visually appear closer to you, closer to your face, closer to your screen. If I'm attacking like with black, it kind of already pushing it back. And the stencil I'm using right now, I think I've shown you that before. It's a bit of Scotch Brite. I was using just a second ago. Bit of Scotch Brite, you know, I've torn it apart, and it gives me a very nice organic texture. Right now I'm working freehand, very closely on details, producing those little cracks in teeth, you know, aiding myself with freehand stencil if I can. But mostly it's, I would say 90% of this is done by hand, freehand airbrushing. That's kind of my favorite part of it, you know. Stencils are good, you know, it's a great tool, and they're very, very helpful, but doing it by hand is the best thing I like. Yeah, now producing just a little bit of a hole kind of in the forehead of the skull. As you can see, getting very close and pushing it back gives you a really nice effect. Like that. It's all in the trigger control in the end of the day. Okay, at this stage we're coming back with white highlights again. I'm trying to bring back the main areas of the artwork of the skull when they're supposed to be the closest to you, supposed to be kind of bring it back to life. All those little highlights that make an incredible difference. And I'm working right now. It's a very, very detailed, you know, area. I'm working very close, as you can see, to my to the helmet, to the artwork. And I'm keep touching the tip of the needle, because the build-ups of the tip dry, preventing me from doing such a fine lines. But That's just how it is with airbrushing, you know. It's every now and again you need to develop that constant motion. You can see how closely I'm looking, working with to the helmet right now, producing these very fine details, and that's sped up 10 times. So you can imagine how much time it actually takes to produce a helmet like that. Every single tooth like that, you know, it's being touched up by hand, adding extra, you know, details in every single one. And again, that is sped up 10 times over here. So 1 minute is 10 minutes of in real time. But you know, adding those little details like this, you know, it's very time consuming, but in the end of the day, it's really worth it when you look at the whole picture. What I'm doing right now, I'm spraying a little trick I've learned myself actually. I'm spraying a candy 2.0. It's a water-based candy, and this one is called Tequila Yellow. Even though it's bright yellow candy, spraying it from a great distance and not overkilling it. I mean, I'm literally just kissing that helmet with that candy over white. It gives a very nice kind of bone structure, because bones are not really white, they always got some kind of discoloration, like a yellowish kind of color. And I found that doing it this way with candy 2.0 Tequila Yellow, it gives that nice effect. I'm very careful with it. I'm not overpowering that, but yeah, that is exactly where we are at, and I believe that is a finished product when it comes to airbrushing of the bone structure anyway, before we clear coat it. I'm doing something else in the background, but that's a completely different story. It's something to match the bike. And yeah, that is a finished product when it comes to airbrushing the white black shadows, and I'm just ready to clear coat it later on. I'm gonna do something on the back to match the bike, but I didn't film it unfortunately. You see it in a minute, you know, when a helmet is cleared. It's me, Mackie. Woof. So there we go, guys. The bad boy Bandit helmet is ready. What do you think? Didn't bother filming that. I was running out of time. Forgot my camera, whatever reason. That's basically the background, kind of the backfire, is to tie it up with Alan's bike, which is the super cool chopper I painted for him some time ago, with the flaming eagle kind of and feathers all over the place. So he wanted some skull, but something to tie it up with his bike, and I think that's a pretty good touch. Just a bit of inferno going in the background, you know, kind of pieces flaming into a hotter and hotter action. And as always, we got the blue pearl in the background, and all sorts of things happening here. All clear coated with 2K, clear and polished, and I mean polished and polished and polished. Took a while to fucking get this fucking thing to this standard, but kind of like the effect, and if I'm happy with it, I'm hoping Alan will be happy with it too. And what do you think, guys? You like it? I think it's pretty cool. Always wanted to do a skull helmet, well, hopefully first of many. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Have a beer, rock hard, and we see you very soon.